Good evening, and welcome to the Crown Hill Journey. I am your guide on this journey, which we are two-thirds of the way through. We started in the beginning of 1st of April, and we will finish on the 30th. 30 chapters. Well, more than 30, 33, I think. We did some doubling up of shorter chapters, but we will be done by the 30th of April. Tonight we go to Book 3, Chapter 10, and we're going to return to Crown Hill, to the shed where we left Meg and Brady Callahan. And just to refresh our memory quickly, Meg was on her way to the barn to look for gardening tools. And as she went, she felt herself physically restrained from going forward into the barn and instead redirected toward the shed, which is just to the side of the barn. I posted a picture online so you could see that. And when that happened, Meg took the challenge and she went forward into the shed and got to the edge of it. And it was dark compared to the sunlight outside. It's a windowless shed. And Meg took a few steps in and then felt something come after her. Felt big and menacing. So she jumped back, screamed, slammed the doors, went up to the house and called 911 and told the dispatcher, who was dismissive, shall we say, that she felt she had a rabid animal trapped in her shed and she needed him to do something about it because she had a dog and she didn't want anything to happen to her precious Goldie. So the dispatcher took the complaint, kind of patted her on the head and said, okay, I'll call the animal control officer. Lo and behold, who pulls in the driveway is the animal control officer, but Brady Callahan, who Meg met in the parking lot of the supermart when his bag of stewed tomatoes broke, canned stewed tomatoes broke and rolled across the parking lot. And as she got out of her car, she slipped on one. So that was Meg and Brady's introduction to each other. It didn't thrill Meg. Also, Goldie immediately related to Brady. That didn't thrill Meg either. But at the end of the day, she found him appealing, especially as he walked away and she checked out his buns, as they say. So that was how they met. And then he pulls in the driveway and he is the one sent up to help her try to figure out this rabid animal in her shed. She's feeling uncomfortable because she knows that the dispatcher thought she was foolish, but Brady treats her with respect and kindness. And so he goes into the shed. She's worried. She doesn't hear from him. She creeps up and calls out his name, and she finds him backing out with a box. And in the box is a feral cat, a barn cat. If you've never had a barn cat, they're wild. They just come and take up residence in your barn, and you usually can't get near them. And if they have kittens, that's just the same thing. You don't get anywhere near them, and that mother cat will fight you if you come near them. And that's what Meg had done unknowingly. She didn't see them. Brady comes out with the box of the feral cat and the 5 babies. And so that's where we left them, where we left Crown Hill. And if you've not been with us before, at the end of every chapter, at the end of the chapter, I pause for a moment and then I read Crown Hill, who is the house, comes at the end of every chapter and advances the story, narrates it for you. And so at the end of that chapter, we hear Mary, who was found hanged in that shed in 1882. We find Mary and the house, Crown Hill, talking. Mary is sure, absolutely positive, that Meg is a person who can help her trapped spirit pass. And so she is determined to reach out to Meg, to make sure Meg knows she's there and ask for her help. Crown Hill is cautioning Mary, take your time. Don't scare Meg. If she is that person, you need to make sure she's comfortable. So that's where we've left everything. And now let's go back. Crown Hill, a novel of love, which you're going to hear about tonight. Love, Life, and the Afterlife. Book 3, Meg, Chapter 10. Meg crawled her way into bed. She felt like pulling the covers over her head and staying there for a week. It had been an incredibly long and exhausting day, salvaged only by the fact that no one got hurt. Well, at least not physically. Meg's ego had taken a pretty lethal hit. Reviewing all that had transpired, Meg still could not believe that a wild barn cat had been the source of her intense fear inside the woodshed. She was mortified that she had raised such a ruckus over an uber protective mother cat and her 5 kittens. The only thing that solved her embarrassment was Brady Callahan's kind reaction. When he came out of the woodshed and set the wooden crate down in the sunshine, Brady stepped back and admonished Meg to do the same. "I wouldn't get too close, Meg. This mama is a barn cat, and that makes her wild right off the bat. Add to that, she's got 5 little ones to protect, and as you found out, she'll jump out with claws bared just for about any reason." "So you're not going to tease me mercilessly over my rabid animal report?" Meg queried the humane man. Flashing another one of his heart-stealing grins, Brady stepped toward Meg and placed his hand on her shoulder. "Meg, the last thing I would do is pick on you. Actually, I tussled with a mama cat once when I was young, and I've got the scars right here on my hand to prove it." Brady turned his wrist and proudly displayed his war wounds while continuing to detail his feline battle. Meg heard none of it. Her mind and body were completely transfixed by the lingering sensation caused by Brady's touch. Her feet were definitely tingling along with the rest of her body, and Meg was sure that the feeling had nothing to do with the red spread. "So I don't blame you at all for being afraid, especially when you couldn't see what was coming at you in the darkness of that shed." Brady's reference to the woodshed brought Meg back to reality before he could realize her absence. To ensure that she stayed functional, Meg took a step apart from the ruggedly handsome farmer, allowing distance to clear her thoughts. She barely knew this man and was certainly in no position to entertain romantic feelings about him. "I'm going to take this crate to the barn and put the mama and her kittens in a stall where she can feel safe, but where you'll also be able to come and go without any worry of harm." Brady finished his sentence with a gentle laugh that Meg understood was not directed at her, but rather at the situation. His easygoing approach affected her almost as much as his touch. "Great. Thank you so much, Brady. I truly appreciate your help with this. I also appreciate your kindness in not making me feel foolish, misjudging a barn cat with kittens for a rabid animal attack." Once again, reaching out and lightly touching her shoulder in reassurance, Brady smiled and then turned his attention to the crate of kittens. Completely undone by her attraction to this virtual stranger, Meg decided to put some space between them. "Okay, well, I'm going to go head up to the house. Goldie is no doubt beside herself by now, so I need to check on her." Brady was focused on the task at hand, but replied that he would stop to say goodbye before he left. The thought of his departure formed words in Meg's mouth that flew out before she could stop them. "Would you like some iced tea before you go?" Meg hoped that her invitation sounded more relaxed than her pounding heart. "Sure, I can stay for a few minutes." And with that, Brady secured the crate in his gloved hands and made his way to the barn, leaving Meg once again staring at his well-defined torso. "Oh man, oh man, oh man. Get a grip, girl," Meg admonished as she forced herself to turn away from Brady and move toward the house. There was no doubt that Brady Callahan was a good-looking man, and he seemed to have a caring heart to match. But in reality, Meg knew nothing about him. He could be engaged or married with kids, for pity's sake. The sound of Goldie's plaintive howls quickly ended Meg's daydreaming. Reaching the house, she opened the back door and immediately blocked the entryway. Gently pushing the anxious retriever back, Meg soothed her pet with loving words and a few strokes on her head. The tension was enough to encourage Goldie to happily trail after her owner into the kitchen. Gathering her thoughts, Meg pulled out her best milk glass pitcher and 2 tall drink glasses. She filled the pitcher with iced tea that she had been brewing in the refrigerator and added a mixture of lemons, limes, and oranges for a kick of citrus. As an extra treat, Meg plated some of the blonde brownies she had made for her Saturday luncheon. Recognizing how strongly she was trying to appeal to the local farmer, Meg quickly banished such thoughts with the rationalization that she was only being hospitable, as she had been with Catherine Winston the day before. All of her anxieties quickly became secondary as Brady knocked on the door and strolled into the kitchen. "All taken care of. You shouldn't have to worry about those kitties, at least until the babies get mobile and start crawling around the barn. Then you might have to start some issues starting up again with that mama." Capping off his statement with a beguiling wink, Brady moved easily to the sink to wash his hands. Reaching for the towel from the nearby holder, the tanned and trim farmer seemed right at home at Crown Hill. Meg knew she needed to do something to break the spell Brady Callahan was casting over her. "I have some iced tea and a plate of brownies here. If you'd like, we can head out to the porch and sit for a bit. It's the least I can do to repay you for your efforts here today. Besides, it would be nice to spend a bit of time and get to know each other." Meg hoped that her eagerness wasn't overly obvious. Glancing at the tray Meg had assembled, Brady's eyes clouded, and his perpetual smile disappeared. "You know, I really need to go. By now I imagine there are other animal calls I need to answer, and there's always work to be done on the farm. But really, Meg, thanks anyway." The sudden chill to Brady's personality caught Meg off guard, sinking her heart. Before she could form an answer, the unusually engaging man turned and abruptly departed from the house to his truck. Meg's reaction was completely instinctive as she flew out the door after him. "Brady, wait, please. Just wait a minute." His good manners stopped the farmer midway into his truck cab. Reaching him, Meg forthrightly asked, "Did I do something offensive just now? I mean, one minute you were smiling and the next brooding. I'm not trying to be invasive, but it just seemed odd." Meg's words touched Brady. He stepped away from the truck and drew close to her. It was then Meg could see tears filling his eyes. Instinctively, she reached out and wrapped her arms around him. The big-hearted man responded by falling into her embrace. The two stood silently, joined for a moment, bodies connected in comfort. Brady was the one to step back as a flush of embarrassment spread over his chiseled face. "I'm sorry, Meg. You didn't do anything wrong. It's all me." "Okay, well then, can you tell me what did happen back there in the kitchen?" Meg knew she was pushing some kind of invisible boundary between them, but anything less felt like quitting on a special chance. Brady hesitated. Within the awkward silence, his eyes registered deep pain. What was it about tea and brownies that disturbed him so, she wondered. Feeling the moment too intense to continue, Meg broke the barrier between them. "You know, Brady, never mind. Really, I'm not trying to be intrusive. I just thought perhaps we could be friends. And as a friend, I was trying to reach out and understand what was going on with you. But never mind. I know you want to get going. Thanks again for your help." Turning and walking to the house, Meg couldn't decide if she was angry or hurt. Either way, she was done with Brady Callahan. She did not need another emotionally unavailable man in her life, even if he did have great buns. As Meg reached the back door, she realized Goldie was missing from her side. Turning around, she saw her favorite pet sitting loyally by Brady Callahan, the man himself seemingly frozen in place. "Oh, no, this isn't happening," Meg thought to herself. "Goldie, come! Come on, in the house!" The straightforward command moved both dog and man as the two made their way towards her. "Meg, please wait. I'd really like to explain." Drawing close, Meg could see the sincerity in every part of Brady's being. She also noticed strong hues of blue developing around him, colors of love. She could find no defensible reason to do anything but honor his request. The two stood face to face on the brick walkway, Goldie between them, as Brady began. Blonde brownies are my favorite dessert, and my wife's recipe is the absolute best. A wife? The information resonated through Meg like a rocket. Now it was making sense. Meg had completely misread the situation. No wonder the guy got uncomfortable. Brady, really, you don't have to say any more. I had no idea you were married and certainly didn't mean to suggest anything improper. Meg, stop. Please, just listen. It's hard for me to tell you this, and if you interrupt, I'll likely not get through it. Seeing your brownies made me think of my wife and my son. They were killed in a car accident 5 years ago on Christmas Day. They were on their way to her parents' house in nearby North Collins. I stayed back to milk the cows and was going to join them in time for dinner and presents. Brady looked away from Meg and gulped several deep breaths before continuing. Anyway, an inexperienced young driver hit a patch of ice, lost control of his car. He ended up crashing broadside into my wife's car and then driving it sideways off the road, through a ditch and into a power pole. The pole fell on top of the car and literally split it, instantly killing my wife and son. I still harbor guilt over not going with them that afternoon. Every day for the last 5 years, I get up and go to bed thinking that if we had driven together, I could have saved them, or at least died with them. I obviously still struggle at times, like now, seeing the blonde brownies that my wife always made for me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to act so oddly. It's just hard. Meg had no words to honor all that Brady had just shared. Rather, silent tears streamed down her cheeks in heartfelt sympathy. In a perfectly timed reaction, Goldie gave a soft whine and nudged Brady's hand with her head. The dog was uncanny in her ability to comfort those around her. Goldie, you're such a good dog. Brady dropped to his knees and wrapped his powerful arms around her as if she were delicate porcelain. The image caused Meg's tears to flow more fully as a silence of sadness and broken dreams descended upon the trio. Ultimately, it was Goldie who broke the powerful quiet as she began softly kissing Brady's face and licking his ears. The sensation felt much like tender tickles and brought laughter from within the mournful man's heart. Like sunshine breaking through a bank of gray clouds, Brady's smile chased away the intense sorrow that had encompassed them. Rising, he reached for Meg's hands and held them tightly as he spoke. I don't talk to people about the accident, about losing Julianne and Colin. I can't even remember the last time I said their names out loud like that. So please, accept my gratitude for listening, for allowing me to say what I needed to say. I know it's hard to hear, and if you would like me to leave now, I would certainly understand. The intensity of the blue color around Brady stirred Meg's heart. The purity of his spirit and the tragedy of his life made it almost impossible for her to speak. Yet she knew that words were crucial at this moment. Brady, I'm honored that you would share your sorrow with me. I cannot imagine the pain and loneliness you've endured. As for your leaving, oh my, I think I would struggle for the rest of the day if you were to go now at this moment. Brady gave a soft squeeze to her hands as he spoke. Then, if you wouldn't mind, Meg, I would love to sit on your porch, enjoy your company, and sample some of your delicious brownies. As Meg drifted to sleep, I lulled her with soft breezes and sweet scents. It had been a tumultuous day at Crown Hill, which had thankfully ended in quietude. Brady and Meg settled on the porch and spent the rest of the day nurturing their friendship. Brady talked further of the tragedy that took the lives of his wife and son, softening the pain by sharing sweet family memories as well. Meg listened carefully as Brady spoke, trying to define this man who was surely navigating his way into her heart. And in the silences between Brady's stories, Meg shared bits and pieces of her life as she could. The strong and loving energy created by the two spread through me like a welcome resolve. It was as Mary imagined, that the kindness between this man and woman might one day help fill the void of her absence within me. So it was comforting that even after Brady departed and Meg set about preparing for her work week, my being remained charged with the sweetness of their afterglow. My Mary, how is it that you feel tonight after so many unexpected happenings throughout the day? Are you settled that you did not connect with Meg in the woodshed? What need do you have of me as you continue to try to reach out to her? Dear one, I must admit that I am somewhat off-kilter from all that transpired today. The emotions run from excitement to fear, frustration, anger, and kindly loving care. And now that all is calm, I know that I must realign with Meg and find a way to bring us together. While I knew Mary was strong in her purpose, I sensed a reserve in her spirit. From our many years together, I knew Mary's strength in time would connect her with Meg. But I was also aware of her kind soul's fragility in moments of self-doubt. It was at such times that I would open my heart to Mary and afford good thoughts to encourage her. Gentle friend, from all that I saw today, Meg has an inner strength and compassion that will serve you well. I don't think she will lack courage when it comes time to realize the presence of your spirit within me. I have great faith that it will all come to be as you hope and wish. I agree, Crown Hill, and I thank you for your always encouraging words. I do worry, though, if Owen should become aware of my connection with Meg, if her strength will be enough to ward off male intent on his part. But at this point, my deepest concern is developing a bond between Meg and myself, and I do not intend on losing further chance or time in making it so. What is it you foresee, my Mary? I am going to return to Meg's dreams tonight and bring her images and remembrances of my life. She is ready for such things, as her time with Catherine Winston has prepared her. Then when she desires more, and I have no doubt that she will, I will reach out directly to her, soul to soul. That is when I will need your help, dear one, to bring the many comforts of your being around Meg and allay her fears, any fears of me that she may have. Mary, you know that I will be at your side. But at the same time, I wonder, what is it that you will bring into Meg's dreams? I am curious to know what you deem as important remembrances. I have taken heart in the wisdom you have shared with me, dear one. I believe you to be true when you say that the place for Meg and I to connect is in our lives that mirror each other. So I will bring to her moments of my life within you when Owen's cruel ways dispirited me. Then I will ensure that her dreams are filled with the many ways that you have cared for me and kept me safe. By encouraging images of you that will be familiar to her and incorporating my life into them, I believe that I will become real to Meg. Thus, she will be willing to connect with me when the time comes. Pausing in thought, Mary softly added, "And know, dearest Crown Hill, that time is near." Love, love, love all abound. When I first started talking to you about this book in the beginning of April, a novel of love, life, and the afterlife, and I talked about the fact that the love in this book is across many different ways. It's the love of a town, a community, the people in the community for its town. It's the love of people, families. It's the love of a woman, a house and a housekeeper of each other. And it's also love between people, men and women, like Meg and Brady. So it's a broadly book filled with love on many different levels. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about it so much. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's chapter. Not too spooky, not too scary, but still you're getting a sense of, Meg's setting her up, or Mary's setting Meg up. And you're going to find out more about how she is invading her dreams. And it becomes we're on chapter 11 and we go to 19. The book will start to become more intense in the spiritual world. But at the same time, don't worry. You're still going to find out about Meg and Brady. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you're new to Crown Hill and you have not heard the previous chapters and you would like to read them or hear them, they're all on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube page, so just go to YouTube, Christina Apt, and you will find Crown Hill. And there's every chapter that we've read so far. I just thought it might be a nice way to binge something that isn't Game of Thrones. Anyway, I hope you have a great night. Hang in. Tomorrow's hump day. And tomorrow we're going to have, if you join me on Heart and Soul at 7:30 in the morning, I've got a quiz for you and we'll spend the day talking about it. So thank you. You're welcome, everyone. Trina, it's so nice to see you. Kathleen and, everybody. I can't, because you keep moving up, I can't see all of you are there, but thank you. It means the world to me. Diane, I see you're there. And I hope you're enjoying this reading that we're doing every night. So have a wonderful evening. Take good care. Wash your hands, drink lots of water, and virtual hug. Enjoy the Crown Hill journey. Good night.